Hello, everyone. Hello. Alexa, make the closet red. It is lights out and away we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 45 of the the Hard or Soft F1 podcast, the HOS F1 podcast. We're going to be doing a little bit of rebranding, sort of. It's still called the Hard or Soft F1 podcast, but we're going to sort of change it to HOS F1 podcast. Just sort of as far as the branding goes, because every time people try to search our podcast, it comes up a sex podcast with a very similar name. The same name minus F1. So that's fun. We do love our name. We love our show. But yes, it is episode 45. So unfortunately, me and RJ once again had some scheduling conflicts. We were unable to come together at the right time to get this episode out, sort of at a reasonable time, I guess, because by the time we would have been able to get together, it would have been almost time to record next week's episode. So we're just going to record two little segments. We're going to both give you some updates on this week, some F1 news, and just sort of talk about what's coming up, because next week me and RJ are doing our draft for our fantasy F1 draft season thing for the 2023 season. So that's going to be very exciting. I just went a very long time without taking a breath. So just hear me taking deep breaths into the mic. It's got to be very pleasing for our listeners. But yes, so we did our draft for the 2022 season for our first season making the show. We started the show right before preseason testing last season. So we're coming up on episode 52. It's officially a year. It's very exciting. We're super pumped for 2023. I think there's lots of great things ahead for the show, and really excited. It's going to be a good time. But like I said, our draft, RJ won last year. Last year he won a couple months ago, but yes, last season he won. And the caveat that we had was that I believe I have to make a trip to visit him in Canada before the start of the 2024 season. So hypothetically, if I win the 2023 season, unless we come up with a different punishment or whatever it is, then he would have to come here by, I don't know, he's probably going to be coming down anyways in the 2023 season, so we'll probably have to come up with something else anyways. But yes, I need to go up to Toronto, that's how you pronounce it, before a year from now, pretty much. So definitely going to get that done. I've never been out of the country that I live in. I live in the United States of America, if you couldn't tell by my glorious accent. But yes, he swept me last season, and I'm not going to lie. I'm going to talk about this more next week, but my picks, they weren't it. I did very little prep. I was super excited. I was very nervous. We just started the show. It was not the best move for me because I picked Max, which was an amazing pick. Then second pick was Charles, which was another amazing pick. And then my third pick was Gasly, which, no shame to Gasly, but he had a pretty torrentially bad season last year, and he was my third pick. So I was destined to lose just because of my own stupidity, my own bad choices. It's my own fault, and that's okay. I'm very, very confident in this upcoming season. I don't want to seem too overconfident, but I do think I have a way better shot this season because I've done lots and lots of prep. I'm not going to show it, but I'm pretty sure I showed this last week. There's a whole whiteboard with predictions and hypotheticals. I take this very seriously. We go back and forth, so since I lost, I'll get first pick. So we're going to just each have a team of 10 drivers, and we keep track of those points as well. And we're also going to do something on the side with the constructors, but the main thing is the drivers. So enough of that. Let's get into this week's stuff. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the weekly Formula One quiz, because if there's one thing I am, it's a encyclopedia of F1 knowledge. So Let's get this started. F1, first question. Alfa Romeo unveiled the C43 this week. Which area of the car did the technical director, Jean Monchot, say his team had, quote, concentrated mainly on? The front, the rear, the floor, or the halo? I don't know. I only looked at the Instagram photos. I'm going to say the rear. Click. Correct! Let's go. Yeah, the rear did look noticeably different to me, but I just assumed that was because it was a show car, but I don't know. Number 2, Red Bull will run 3 fan-designed paint schemes this season. At which of these venues will they not run a fan-designed livery? This is easy. Coda, Las Vegas, Miami, or Silverstone. It's Silverstone. They're doing all of them in America, because America's awesome. And we're sort of, you know, we're pumping up the F1 fandom, which some people think that's a good thing. Some people think that's a very bad thing. I think it's a good thing, because I'm an American, so why wouldn't I think it's a good thing? Number 3, Williams unveiled the livery for their FW45 on Monday, featuring which iconic brand? Gulf. RJ's going to be talking about this a little bit. Yes. Williams and Gulf, not with McLaren anymore. They are with Williams. Number 4, at which circuit did Fernando Alonso test the 2022 Aston Martin AMR22 this week? I don't know. Imola, Catalunya, Silverstone, or Jerez. It's probably Silverstone, but I'm going to say Catalunya because I'm an idiot. Wrong. Blah, 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 blah. It was at Jerez. I think that's how you pronounce it. I didn't know that. Number 5, Red Bull are partnering with Ford from 2026. Which driver took the last title with a Ford engine? Ooh. I do know Ford still is the 3rd most successful engine provider in F1's history, so it's kind of interesting. Ford. I'm gonna say Nigel Mansell. Wrong. Oh, it was whoops, it was Michael Schumacher. That shows how much I know. Look, I'm trying to go back and expand my prior F1 knowledge. I'm trying. There's a lot, you guys. I'm doing my best with the current, and I'm slowly drip feeding the old stuff, but yeah, whatever. I'm no expert. What is Ferrari's 2023 Formula One's car set to be called when it's launched on February 14th? Shit. It is the SF 23 or 75. I'm gonna say the 23. I'm correct. The SF23. Is it a championship winning car for Leclerc? I don't know. Which legendary Ferrari F1 did Charles Leclerc drive at the Yas Marina circuit this week? I was going to talk about that. Yes. It does not list the type, I don't think. If it does, I don't remember. The F2003, F2002B, F2001, 2002, 2004, blah, blah, blah. I remember on the Reddit post it was 2002. No, it's the 2003. Interesting. Ah! Oh, he did actually put... Oh, it looks like RJ got it wrong, too. He put 2002 in the notes. Maybe that's why I thought it was 2002. I did not remember. I got it wrong. Maybe RJ put that in there to trick me. He subliminally fucked me up there. RJ, dude. That's fucked up, man. You're trying to make me look like a fucking idiot, dude? What the fuck? Typical Mercedes fan. Who is... Number 8. Who is Alfa Romeo's reserve driver this season? Robert Schwartzman, Theo Porchia, Robert Kubica, or Antonio Giovinazzi? It's Antonio, isn't it? No! It's Theo Porchia. No, Antonio is Ferrari's, I think. God, so embarrassing. Number 9. Jean-Pierre Jabouille passed away on February 2nd. So sorry for fucking his name up. Which team took their first F1 victory thanks to the Frenchman? Probably Renault, right? Yeah, the French team. Got that right. All-female series F1 Academy announced... Oh, yeah, all-female series F1 Academy announced its first driver this week, Lena Bueller. But what sport did the Swiss racer first begin competing in? Bobsleigh, BMX, bowling, or basketball? I'm going to probably say BMX. Correct. how would you translate basketball to racing? That doesn't make any sense. So that was the last one. I got 6 out of 10. So I technically failed, but that's kind of where I was in high school. 6 out of 10. Just barely good enough. We'll take it.
Hello, everybody. It is my turn to speak now. Thank you, Adrian, for that intro. A couple things I want to say before I get to my quiz. Curious to see how you did on that. First off, glad to see you still rocking that mustache. I guess people are going to get to see it in full screen HD this week, so lucky for them. Other thing, yes, you said Toronto properly, so bravo for that. And the last thing, the draft. Now, I know you picked Gasly as your third pick, but I think I can take a little offense to you portraying it as you losing and not me winning, because I saw it as me winning, absolutely wiping the floor with you, and just proving that you don't know wheel, I know wheel. So that's a little puts a little fire in my belly just to have to do that again to you this year. So look out for next week, because it's gonna just be a repeat of last year, maybe even worse for you, better for me. So anyways, that's all I had to say for my intro. I'm gonna get to the quiz now. Hopefully I can defeat Adrian. Let's see, weekly quiz, no peeking. Alright, let's do this. Question 1. Floor. Wrong. Rear axis. Go for 1. Renault, correct. Silverstone, Vegas, Coda, Miami. Silverstone, duh. That was an easy one. Alright, that's 2. Bobsleigh or BMX. I don't know if they do BMX. I'm gonna guess bobsleigh. Wrong. BMX. Okay. Well, I'm gonna guess 2001. Oh, 2003. Me idiot. Williams unveiled a livery for their FW45 on Monday, featuring which iconic brand? Golf. Bang. Got it. Catalonia, Spain, I feel like is the obvious answer, but I'm gonna say Imola. Alright, it was Jerez, so I wouldn't have got that anyways. What am I on? Question 8 here. SF23? Pure guess. Correct. Let's go, it's huge. Who is Alfa Romeo's reserve driver this season? The Cuckman himself, Robert Kubica. Wrong? Oh. Fuck. I thought I had that one. Theo Percher. I'm gonna guess it's Mansell or Fittipaldi. Let's go Mansell. Wrong. Schumacher. Damn it. Alright, how did I do? I didn't do very good this week. I did much better last week. 4 out of 10. Yikes. Failing grade for me this week, so that's unfortunate. But yeah, I'm just gonna move right on past that. Hopefully I beat Adrian. Well, I don't think I did, but we'll see. Yeah, so we had a couple livery launches this week. First one, Williams. I quite liked it. I thought it was beautiful. Just very, very nice, as they say. Well, as everyone says. But hold on here a sec. A lot of people are saying, oh, it looks the exact same as last year's. No, Red Bulls look the exact same as last year's. I quite like the Williams. I think is a bit more of like a two-tone, different shades of blue this year. They also have the little Duracell battery on top, which is just looks really cool. Nice little touch. They have the cool blue wheel rim things with like the little arrow chevrons going around, and also the Golf sponsorship. And Golf has alluded to the fact that this is just the beginning of the liveries they're going to be putting together. So, and they said they're only going to go bigger and better as the season progresses. So that'll be cool to see. Obviously, Golf used to be with McLaren. I think their partnership stopped at the end of 2021, but they most famously did the McLaren Golf livery at Monaco in 2001. So, or 2021, pardon me. So yeah, that's something to look forward to with Williams. Who knows how they'll perform on track? I don't even know if they know yet. But the way Alex Albon's been talking, he said this week that he doesn't expect Williams to have a jump up the rankings like Haas did, which Anyways, yeah, that's what he said. So not really high hopes, I guess, but yeah, him and Logan Sargeant, maybe they can get out of last place this year. That'd be a nice accomplishment for Williams to start making their way back up. So yeah, that's it on Williams. We got a couple more livery launches coming. We got one on the 11th. Which is Saturday. Sorry. And then Monday, Tuesday. Sorry, one on Saturday, two on Monday, one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday, one on Thursday. I don't know, those days could be off. But yeah, that's they'll all be out next week. So that's cool. I'm really obviously most excited for Mercedes February 15th. They're kind of flip-flopping back and forth not flip-flopping, but teasing whether it's going to be all black, whether it's going to be silver, whether it's going to be silver and black. And today they put something out with, I don't know, it was like pink, white, and something else, blue maybe. I don't know what that is. Maybe someone's helmet colors. I don't know. But yeah, they're definitely teasing a lot of different things. Obviously, that's my favorite team, so I most look forward to that. But yeah, it's going to be a good week for liveries, and we have the draft coming up next week, as Adrian alluded to. So yeah, very excited for next week. I'm going to throw it now back to Adrian to talk about his fellow American.
Speaking of America and F1, we've got we've got an American F1 racer rejoining the grid this season, Logan Sargeant with Williams, the teammate to Alex Albon. So it's very exciting, and Logan seems to think that F1 is going to overtake NASCAR in the United States. It's a bold claim, but I don't know if I would disagree with that. I do think it has potential to eventually. NASCAR is very big here, but I will say there is a huge amount of Americans that clown NASCAR because we're all self-aware and we know that how like country and whatever NASCAR fans are. No hate to NASCAR fans, but I'm not a fan of NASCAR. I like Formula One. But I would love to see Formula One at least like hit the levels of NASCAR in terms of popularity. I also would like to see it hit the same levels of like accessibility, because I could go to a NASCAR race, no problem. I'm not going to go in debt over a NASCAR race, but if I bought tickets to a Formula One GP, I might. Thankfully, I'm trying to be an F1 podcaster, so I can try to get media passes. Hopefully me and RJ will be able to get some media passes this year. We'll see about that.
Okay, back to me. Thank you, Adrian. Red Bull, I'm going to talk about Red Bull, his favorite team, but kind of some mixed messaging coming out of the Red Bull camp regarding they got the cap cost penalty last season. So, as we know, they got, I believe, like a 10%, I guess I shouldn't say as we know if I don't even know, but I think it was a 10% wind tunnel time reduction, and they already had the least amount of time because they won the constructors last year. So the whole Red Bull camp is saying like that it's going to be a big detriment to them this year, and it's something they really have to overcome and spend their time very wisely, etc., etc. And then Max Verstappen came out the other day and said that he doesn't think it's going to affect them at all, and that they're going to be running up in the front again, and he'd rather it be in this scenario where they are winning and having to do the penalties than having to come second or third, because that's much more heartbreaking. I forget if that was the word he used, but something along those lines. So I don't think that's really the natural route that Red Bull really wants to go with. Usually is they kind of, Mercedes does this as well, is they sort of like to downplay themselves and then act like they've overcome this huge mountain and revel in that. But yeah, I don't think Max is really one to he usually tells it how he thinks. Like whether he's honest or not is a different story for another day, but at least he usually says what's on his mind. I know that sounds like those are the same thing, but no. You can lie and still say what's on your mind, but it can still be a lie. Anyways, that is pretty much all I had on that. Just an interesting dynamic. Usually these teams are on the same page, but I'm sure by the time we get to Bahrain, they'll figure out their messaging, and that is also coming up very quickly. We've got like 2 weeks. Today's Thursday, February 9th, so we've got 2 weeks back on track. So Adrian is going to be back with you right now.
Next, some records that could be broken in this upcoming 2023 season, just to name a few. So, most points without a win. The most successful point scorer to have never won a Grand Prix. Not the best thing to be known for, is it? Nico Hülkenberg currently holds the record with 521 career points. Wow. His return to the grid for 2023 is, I'm sure, fueled by the hope of shaking off some of these unwanted stats. But Lando Norris might do that for him. He's currently on 428 career points. If he scores at least 94 points this season without a win and Nico cannot clinch any, we could see a different driver on the top step of this unwanted record. That's crazy. That shows McLaren has really, really, really not done Lando right. They've done him dirty. Why does it suddenly... Yeah, the lighting. It doesn't look red. Now it looks red. Alexa, make the closet blue. Yes, much better vibes. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I don't know. That disappoints me for Lando, because McLaren, I mean, say what you will about Daniel, but McLaren has sort of been an embarrassment always. Monza has been the only highlight, I feel like. I mean, not to the level of they were when Alonso was on the team, but goddamn. If Lando cannot get a win this season, I don't expect him to stick around with McLaren for very long. That contract definitely ain't getting renewed. And Nico's definitely going to get some points, but I could easily see Lando potentially passing that record. But hopefully we see more than just 2 or 3 guys win GPs this season. I'd like to see some variety. Okay, next. Most podiums without a win. Big surprise. Lando was set to take his maiden Grand Prix in Sochi 2021. Rip leading the race in his closing laps, and, well, you know the rest. It absolutely still haunts me to this day, he said. So, yes, he also holds the record for most podiums without a win. So, that's great. Last. Fewest race winners in 1 year. Here's one for us. This is a stat that we are praying doesn't get beaten. The fewest race winners in 1 year is currently at 3. Back in 2015, we only had Lewis, Nico, and Seb win. That is... I don't even know how to describe that. I could say sad. I could say boring. That's how I would describe it. Fucking boring. I mean, I'm not even a Mercedes fan, but I do like Lewis, but I'm not a Mercedes fan. Even if it was, I mean, it feels like it was close to that last season, but if it was just Max and Checo winning, and then Charles got a race or 2 in, that would suck. That's boring. That did feel like how it was last season, but we did have more than just 3, thankfully. So those are some records that could be beat. It's going to be interesting to watch. I do hope Lando is able to clinch his win. So it's about damn time. Next, in some more F1 FIA related news, Mohammed Ben Sulayem, if that's how you pronounce his name, is taking a step back. I honestly could go on a whole rant about this, but it doesn't really mean anything to me. I mean, he's still going to call shots. He's still going to pull the strings. He's just not doing it in a huge, public, bombastic, flamboyant way. He's doing what his predecessors have done, and that's pull the strings, make the choices from behind the curtain where no one knows and your name doesn't get thrown around. I mean, He figured that out, though. I mean, he's clearly doing it. But, yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about that. It's not really surprising. And don't think anything's going to change. I know F1 and the FIA are trying to split, so we'll see. I don't know.
Okay, thank you, Adrian. yeah, we got another livery launch. Alfa Romeo, and they, I don't know, maybe the biggest changes of any of the ones we've seen so far. Haas made some changes as well, but Alfa Romeo going with the red and black, little bit of tinges of white in there, and their side floor, it looks like it's going to be, I don't know if that's going to be legal or not, because I don't obviously know what the regulations are and stuff like that, but it looks like it would just be a tire ruiner, because it's not really spiky, but little rivets in there. So if that is allowed, I really hope Mercedes picks that up so that Lewis can fend off Max a little easier instead of both of them getting taken out. But yeah, Alfa Romeo, red and black, a little bit of, kind of looks to me a little bit like a Ferrari. But yeah, I really like it. I mean, there's not really too much to say on these liveries other than just to describe what they look like, and everyone can see for themselves. But I think it looks really cool. The other aspect of the Alfa Romeo one that's interesting is that they're doing, for the first time in F1 history, they are doing a auction. They're auctioning off the car that they had on display at the launch. So it goes until right now. I'm just pulling up official Alfa Romeo F1 Team Stake 2023 C43 launch car, signed chassis number 1. So you get the car, you get some signed pictures, you get the race suits and boots, suited and booted, and yeah, some autographs. So right now the bid ends February 21st, and I'm just gonna put it through the currency converter here. It's 85,000 pounds, which is 85,000 USD. Come on in. Oh, it's not working. I don't know. Let's just say it's around the same. So right now it's at 85,000, which it's definitely gonna get way higher than that. There's only been 21 bids, but yeah, I don't know where people would put that if they bought it, but it'd be a pretty cool thing to have. If I was making millions, I would definitely put in a bid on that. $85,000, yeah. But a couple weeks left on that, so that's definitely gonna go up. But yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, all red, little black. Well, red and black. The race suits look pretty cool, I think. Kind of simple, all black with a little red stripe in the Alfa Romeo and white on around the middle. Valtteri Bottas just with ridiculous haircuts still. Yeah, that's Alfa Romeo. What have we got next? To me again. Another thing we got some clarity on this week that's been kind of sizzling and simmering underneath the surface all off season, and looks like thankfully we're not going to have to deal with it during the season. Stefano Domenicali, his name's been in the news a little bit. Formula One CEO Stefano Domenicali expects the FIA will clarify its position over its clampdown on drivers making political statements, and says the sport will not silence anyone. So yeah, that's really good. That was obviously something that the drivers were quite upset. Even Max Verstappen said it was probably a bit unnecessary. Helmut Marko spoke out against it, as I've mentioned a couple times. Yeah, pretty much every driver has spoken out against it. Even Sebastian Vettel, who's not driving anymore, spoke out against it. Just kind of a boneheaded move in the first place. So glad that it seems like they're not really going to be penalizing the drivers for speaking out on what they believe in. Because yeah, they obviously have a huge platform. So kind of a strange move in the first place, but gladly it looks like that is that's going to be wiped out. So we'll obviously find out a bit more about that as the press conferences start to happen over the next few weeks, but that's definitely good news. And lastly, we have here a little fun article on why all the drivers chose their number on their car. So Adrian's going to take a few, but first I'm going to do, now we're not going to go through the whole grid because there's 20 drivers. That would take a long time. A lot of them are kind of the same, along the same vein, but I'm going to do 3. Adrian's going to do 3. First, obviously, naturally, I'm going to do Lewis. So Lewis, let me just get him up here. Lewis Hamilton. Okay. Lewis Hamilton, of course, number 44. Let's read this. Since the rule was introduced to allow drivers to race with a fixed number, Hamilton has had 44 plastered on his Mercedes. The Briton has won 6 world titles since then, but on each occasion, he has turned down the opportunity to race with number 1 on his car in favor of 44. Here's why. Quote, "When I was 8, we got a really old go-kart and it was owned by like 5 or 6 different families. It was from the back of the newspaper. My dad got this kart, rebuilt it, and we had to enter our first race, and my dad didn't know what number to use. And on the number plate of his car was F44, said Hamilton. That's the number we raced with for many years, and then when I joined Formula 1, I had to be whatever the team asked me to be. And then further into my career, they then decided to allow the drivers to choose their one number, and that would be their number forever, and I went back to the number where it all started." He added, "It's the number that my family recognized the most. It's the number that has been loyal to me and to my fans." So there you go. There's the history behind Lewis and 44. Next up, I'm going to do Zhou Guanyu, because his was pretty good. All right. The Alfa Romeo driver goes out on track with the number 24 on his car, and he revealed in an interview with German publication Speedweek that he uses it in tribute to childhood hero and NBA icon Kobe Bryant. Quote, "Kobe Bryant was a big inspiration to me when I was more interested in basketball than motorsports," Zhou revealed. "What impressed me most was his work ethic. Even though he was considered the best player of his era, he worked tirelessly on himself. He would get up at 4 in the morning, start training, then take his kids to school, then keep training. Also, 24 is 4 times 6, and 6 is a lucky number in my country." So there you go. Kind of a cool story, Zhou Guanyu. And last for me is going to be Pierre Gasly. How about that, eh? All right. Alpine's newest recruit will continue racing with the number 10 this season. Like Ocon, Gasly also used the number during his most successful campaign in his junior days, but he also uses it as a tribute to one of France's most decorated footballers. Quote, "I raced with that number in 2013 when I became Formula Renault European champion," said Gasly. "I was a big fan. I'm still a big fan of Zinedine Zidane, who was number 10 for the national French team. A man that really knows how to use his head." Good one, eh? So yeah, that's my dramatic. That's my dramatic reading for the week of why drivers have their driver numbers.
So I'm going to go through my 3. So Max Verstappen, number 1. For the first 7 years of his career, Verstappen raced with the number 33 on the front of his car. He revealed that he had wanted the number 3, but his former teammate, Daniel Ricciardo, was already using it. So he used 33 to, quote, "add double the luck." Love that. Of course, he ended up changing it to number 1 when he won his championship 2 years ago, a little over a year ago at this point. Crazy. Next, Sergio. He has number 11. Unlike many of the drivers, Perez's race number has nothing to do with his junior days in motorsport, nor does it involve any superstitious beliefs. His race number comes from one of his childhood heroes, Ivan Zamorano, who wore the number on his shirt in his final season playing for Perez's favorite football team, Club America. Quote, "I used to admire a football player. His name is Ivan Zamorano, and he had number 11, said Perez. So when I was karting, I said I also want to have number 11. Since then, I've always used 11. Still, my email is with number 11. 11, 11, 11, 11, 11. 11 benevolent elephants." And lastly, Carlos. He's got 55. Carlos Sainz. When Sainz came into Formula 1, he wanted the number 5 on his car. However, the 4-time world champion Sebastian Vettel was already making use of it. So the Spaniard then put 2 5s together, making 55. Okay. So fascinating. Carlos Sainz, one S is 1 5 and the other S is another 5, so it's a 55, he said. Okay, I guess that's slightly different than Max's thing. He just wanted to double his luck. But I guess 2 5s means 2 S's. Cool. But yeah, just a little fun backstory. I think God damn it. I think RJ is gonna go through Lewis and a couple of other drivers. So
big week next week. Lots of livery reveals. We got our draft. So I don't know how we're gonna handle that. Whether we do 2 episodes or we'll figure it out. You guys don't have to worry about that. I'll worry about that. So yeah, thank you very much as always. I'm gonna throw it back to Adrian. Thank you, Adrian. And as always, go Lewis. Go Mercedes. Have a good week, everybody.
Thank you all so much for watching or listening, and stay tuned. Next week, big week, our draft. Biggest episode before the season launch. You gotta watch or listen. It's gonna determine our conversation or a topic for every week for the next year, pretty much. So, watch next week, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.